Take two. Hi, this is Chanti Niven on this wonderful sunny day in April. It's April 9th, 2018. And I took my son's advice because although I love blue and it's my favorite color, I'm posing now in front of a little bit of gold and warmth, because one of the things that David had said to me was that the last videos were a little cold, and I'm anything but cold. Anyway, as I'm talking, I'm welcoming David, Robert, Adriana to my live video on this April 9th day. And just wanted to mention I had a little bit of a false start before shutdown because I got an important call that I had to take. And that is that, what's on the headlines today, guys? We have a headline that reads that agents seize Stormy Daniels' hush money records in raid on office of Trump's longtime personal attorney, Michael Cohen. Now, hi, Ray. Welcome to Chanti Niven Live. And so I'm looking at this headline and I'm thinking to myself, wow, they're really starving for news. There's so much stuff that's happening in the world, and Syria and all over the world, really important stuff. And we're still focused on whether Donald Trump had slept with some porn star. And this is becoming blown up out of all proportion. And here's the thing, by the way, guys, it's not a political post. I have no intention of talking about Donald Trump or about what my beliefs may be. I just want to say, let's get our priorities straight, guys. This is, I actually don't care who Donald Trump slept with. I do care about this country deeply. And one of the reasons I'm saying this today is that I am so excited because I have had news that I have reached that time where I can apply for citizenship of the United States. And this person could not be happier to become an American, to contribute and to do good for this country in every way that I can. I'm proud to be a taxpayer. I'm proud to be a business owner. And I can't tell you how lucky you guys are to live in this country. I know you don't believe it because you're listening to the news and everybody's fighting and everybody's got something to say that is negative. Hi, Jerry. Hi, Paula, Corky, Marty. Welcome today. So I'm going to tell you why you're lucky. I'll tell you this in a little story because all of this live video stuff is me kind of getting natural in front of the camera and figuring out what looks best, which is why I'm trying a different backdrop. How do you like it? Tell me. Thanks for all the love. Hey back at you, Jerry. So yeah, as I said, the backdrop, the gold backdrop is because my son said everything was too blue and too cold. So let me tell you why you're lucky. I was born in England, but I lived in South Africa for the majority of my life. And Ray Novak, who's online, is a South African. My two girls are still in South Africa. And I will tell you that you guys enjoy freedoms here that you don't enjoy anywhere else in the world. And I wanted to share a little story with you to illustrate. I remember after I'd been here for a few years, my two daughters came to visit me and spend Christmas with me. And it was the most amazing thing to welcome my daughters here to this country. And the first day they were here, I said to them, what do you want to do? Like, what do you want to do? I was expecting them to say, Hollywood, Santa Monica. My daughter's biggest dream is to go rollerblading down the Santa Monica Pier. She just had this sort of whole romantic idea of what that was going to be like. So I thought, this was the whole laundry list. Oh, okay. Sorry, Shelley doesn't like the backdrop. Okay, I'm taking votes now. Completely distracted me, Shelley. Thank you very much. Hi, Brad. Hi, Weldons. And everybody else who's joined in the meantime. Well, the thing is, I'm just trying to figure out a way that I can record this. And as I say, I'm getting comments from everybody, but it just shows you can't please everybody. Anyway, back to the story. So I'm expecting these kids to say they want to do something glamorous and Hollywood, right? And my two girls look at me with bright eyes and they say, Mom, please, could we take the dog for a walk to the park? I know, anticlimax, right? I'm thinking, but I'd already been here a few years, so I'd forgotten what a privilege it was to be able to walk down a street freely. It just doesn't happen where I come from. People are behind high walls, security cameras, bars on windows. We often joke in South Africa that the law-abiding citizens are sitting in jails while the criminals roam the streets. Excuse me, sometimes I get carried away with myself. The streets free. So for my two girls, thank you for the love. Thank you, guys. So for my two girls, this was the most awesome thing that they could do. Hi, Michael. Is to be able to walk down a street with a dog. So my dog at the time's name was Ava, and my two girls set off with Ava down the street to go off to this park that is, I would say, about 1.5 miles down the road. And so they go off for a walk. A couple of hours later, I see them coming up the driveway again. And, you know, this memory really makes me actually tear up. Because, when they came back, their faces were pink, their eyes were glittering. And my daughter Candace said to me, Mommy, she said, everybody's so friendly here. Even the dogs are friendly. Now, I know this sounds weird to you guys. This is such a weird thing for me to say to you that you don't even understand what I'm saying to you. Because where I come from, the dogs are kind of, they've been trained to be guard dogs. So everywhere you walk, dogs are just wanting to bite you. And they're kind of at the fences jumping at you. And when you're living in an environment where your life is not, where you're not safe, where crime is ever present, where we're the rape capital of the world. I'm just going to put that out there. They say that 1 in 4 women in South Africa have been raped. And I think it's more like 1 in 3. Now, I know that you guys focus on a lot of the negative news that is always ever present in front of you, in your face. Hi, Tammy. Hi, Linda. You are reading about school shootings and you're reading about all of this negative stuff. And it's so easy to be clouded and to think that that's all there is. And that I've heard so many Americans complaining about this country and saying it's going to the dogs. And I hear these kind of things. And I want to say to you guys that you need to get perspective. I almost wish that I could send all of you out to Africa for a period of time. I'm not meaning this in a negative way. Please forgive me if this offends you. This girl that actually works with me, Kelly, one of my trainers, and her sister are right now in Zimbabwe working at an orphanage on my recommendation. And I know that they are going to come back with a completely different perspective. And it changes you when you see people in abject poverty and in real crises. Just imagine what those kids are doing right now. Just imagine in those war-torn areas, the families that are being split apart, people that are starving, real issues, folks. And then consider just how lucky you are. I'm not just saying that, but I'm just saying that your perspective changes, because when you actually go to these places, you know what's going to strike you is how joy-filled these kids are. I guarantee you that when Kelly and Grace come back from Zimbabwe, where they're working at this orphanage, they will remark on the fact that these little orphans who've lost their families will make toys out of wire and will play in the mud. They have no possessions. Everything that is given them, they appreciate. And yet we here in America, and I say we because I actually now feel inclusive. I feel like part of your family. And thank you so much. Hi, thank you, Stavrula. Thank you so much to all of those who've left such incredible messages on my wall welcoming me to your family. I am so overjoyed that very soon, within the year, hopefully, that I will be able to count myself as an American with a funny accent. And I promise you guys that I will fight with all my heart to be a contributing member of society, to do good in this country, to not to take, but to give. And I want to encourage all of you today to, for a while, switch off all of this negative news. That's why I, a while back, started NORSA, where I said the good news only zone. I don't want you to be ignorant. I want you to be aware of what's going on, but be balanced. And understand what a big part you can play in changing how things are. It starts from a place of gratitude. It says, I'm grateful. I'm so grateful to be here in this beautiful country. And it is such a beautiful country. I've traveled and hiked in Minnesota. I remember going hiking along the Brule River and seeing Devil's Kettle. What a name for that, but I have no idea where that came from. And going on the Empire Builder across the Northwest to Montana, where I was able to hike at Glacier National Park. Oh my God, I will never forget the beauty of that park. And this country is filled with beauty. And there are so many amazing people that I've met, passionate, intelligent, brilliant people. And yet I get this ignorance from other countries in the world, including the country of my birth, where people talk about, I'm just going to say it out there. I've had people saying that, you know, about the national IQ and talk about the ignorance of Americans. And I get so pissed off because there is ignorance everywhere, folks. But this is a country filled with brilliance and creativity and beauty. We just see where we look. And, you know, I like that expression of a prisoner looking out behind bars. One looks up. Sorry. Yes, one looks up and sees stars. The other one, well, one looks down and sees mud, but the other one looks up and sees stars. Of course, I would screw that up. So there's a prisoner trapped behind bars. One looks down and sees mud, and the other one looks up and sees stars. Okay, so I'm that starry-eyed kid that I'm looking up, and I believe in this country, and I believe in all of you, and I think that we can make things better. And I am in the career that I'm in because I think that it starts with the way that we communicate. And it starts from gratitude. Can we just say that we're proud to be Americans and mean that? And stop fighting and stop bickering and stop attaching ourselves to insignificant things and making a big deal out of it? Can we just get behind our flag and say that this country is not perfect? Because I'm not perfect. Don't know about you, but I'm not perfect. And say, you know what, I'm going to be a part of the solution. I'm going to stop being a part of the problem. Because that's what I'm doing, guys. Yes, innovation, creativity and development and work ethics is us. Hi, Sarah Khan. Linda says, yay, Chanti, welcome. If I could change one thing about American schooling, I would require that all sophomores or juniors live in an emerging country for a full school year. And you're so right about perspective. Well, thank you so much. Hi, Rick. Welcome. It's my partner in crime, Rick. Hi, Bill and Jessica. Thank you, everybody who's joining me. I am so passionate about this, guys. One thing I just love about Rick, by the way, Rick Siegel, who's just joined me, I remember how passionate howdy, hi, Josa, is how he's watched. I mean, he's got a tattoo of, you know, the play Hamilton. Before he even saw it, he got that tat. And he knows more about American history. In fact, when I come up to my test, Rick, are you going to coach me? When I come up to my, you know, when I have to do the test to see how much I know about this country, will you be the one to help me? Hey, Joe. Joe Whitcomb has joined me. In every country's history, there are times where we have shame. I mean, I was born in England. I have a British, my family, there are a lot of Scots among them. There is a lot of shame amongst British history. There is a lot of shame amongst any history when you look at it. But if we're going to focus on our history, if we're going to focus on America, I hear this about how we took away land from the Native Americans and that there was slavery. And yes, there's shame amongst all of in our histories, and we need to learn from history and move forward. But my encouragement to you guys today is to look at what is that we do actually live in an amazing country with amazing hodgepodge of people of all kinds, like me, who come from all over the world. And can we just try to be constructive and loving and caring about one another and not break everybody down? Hey, Cricket. I agree. But you know what? Like I said, that's part of my thing, in that I'm going to be passionate about spreading that kind of news, good news, and that we actually can make a difference. I might have a little voice, might have a very little voice, but I'm going to speak loud and strong, and I'm going to stand up and be a proud American, And I hope that you won't knock me down for that, even if you don't agree with me. My honest truth is, if you hate this country, you got to leave. You got to leave. You got to find somewhere else that suits you. You don't have to stay here. I just think that we've got to stop complaining and start becoming active parts of the solution. I'm really tired of all the animosity and negativity. Hello, Andrea. Shelley Close Mill says, I never understood how privileged I was until I took my first international trip to Colombia. The poverty is staggering. I didn't know that such places existed. I was 18 years old and literally cried when my plane landed in Miami and I knew I was home. Yeah, Joseph, I absolutely agree. There are many, many levels to this subject. And don't get me wrong, I'm not being critical of the fact that when you have a cause, so for example, this might be a shocker to some of you. I'm actually in communication. I'm not going to mention names here, but I'm in communication and writing to somebody who is in jail or in prison for murder. And I'm learning through this correspondence, I'm learning a lot of stuff, and I'm learning about the legal system here. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. It's actually, there is a lot to be desired. But, you know, there are other countries where justice has completely fallen apart. And I think that we need to speak up about stuff because that's one of the rights that we have as Americans. And wait a minute, I'm talking like an American. I'm talking like I'm already an American. I'm on my way, guys. So we have a right to free speech, to speak up as nowhere else in the world. Trust me when I say that. But be responsible with your free speech. And be responsible to build up, not break down. That's all I'm saying. Marty Richardson says, the golden rule thing, do unto others as you would have done unto you. Finding direction, a politically diverse society takes thought and soul searching. Absolutely. Rainer says, hi from Iceland, like what you're talking about. I'm so glad. I know I'm an idealist. I'm a little bit of a Pollyanna, and that I always tend to take that sort of positive viewpoint. Not to say that I don't get negative. I have my morbid moments. But I believe that every single person can make a difference if we start from this. Whoops, I nearly dropped my coffee cup. Ooh. Joseph says, I'm glad that you are educating yourself because that is the first step towards understanding. There are quite a few people in this country who just don't understand what is going on or why people feel the way that they feel. And Joseph, I agree. And you know, I've often thought about this because I see there is a lot of, you know, now coming from South Africa, which was known for the first country to actually legislate racism. It's shocking. I mean, I was living in this country when apartheid was alive and well. I saw the transition. I was there during the Soweto riots. I was there when they were necklacing people. I was there when Nelson Mandela was released. My great uncle was a man by the name of Vernon Beranger. And he defended Nelson Mandela in the Rivonia trial. And, you know, I could tell people I'm not racist, but when you come from South Africa, there's always that kind of like, you know, she's not black, she must be racist. I'm sorry, I'm just going to say it. These are the things that we need to stay away from, these beliefs that we have. And Marty says idealist to say the least. You know what? I'm unashamedly an idealist. I want to see a brighter future, and I'm damn well going to create it. So there you go. Joseph, I think you'd be surprised at how much educating I have done in terms of studying and remaining open-minded. And I honestly think that we need to open up dialogue, but we need to open up non-threatening, non-violent dialogue, because hate speech is going to lead to more hate. The only solution is to speak in love. And I use examples like Jesus Christ, Gandhi. One of my heroes from South Africa is Nelson Mandela. Was this a perfect human being? No, he wasn't. Guys, this was a man in his early days who was very, very, what's the word for it? He was called a terrorist, but he was very, I'm going blank on the word, but he leaned very much on the socialistic side, almost communistic side. He was ready to take up and violently attack what he disagreed with. And I can't disagree with him on that, because it was a shocking system. However, he went through jail, and very few people understand that the 27 years of incarceration that he and his jailer, an Afrikaner, who was on the other side of the camp, who was part of the Nationalist Party that had created apartheid, became best friends. In fact, this man wrote a book entitled My Prisoner, My Friend, and I really highly recommend that you read that. Hi, Jeffrey. Jeff again! Oh my gosh. Jeff is somebody I worked with and that I just adore. Lives up in Kent, Washington, and I had the privilege of staying at his home for a while, and he took me off in his private jet and flew me up to Mount Olympus, and with my ex-husband at the time. And we won't mention him, will we, Jeff? Anyway, the thing that I wanted to say about this is that it took him being 27 years in jail for him to come out a man that believed in a different way to reconciliation and to what ultimately became known as the Rainbow Nation. And I think we could take a leaf out of his book, because instead of coming out, and he had every right to hate the regime that locked him there, I would have found it difficult to show love to somebody who put me in jail for that much, for those years. I can't imagine how he came out with the attitude that he had. But instead he chose a different way. And the way that he chose was reconciliation, forgiveness. And so I just want to encourage all Americans today, unless we want to go down that sort of path and land up in civil war. I mean, I'm joking when I say this, but when I see the level of vitriol, the two sides, it's not beyond the realms of believability that this could happen. What I'm saying is that there is only one way, and that is to stand up and speak, but speak with love. Salem says, the ways of thinking implanted by electronic culture are very different from those fostered by print culture. Thank you for all the love coming up. Awesome. Thank you so much for your messages, Marty, as well. Okay, so here's the thing. I'm not saying use your freedom of speech to speak up about what you think is wrong, but don't attack. Because I've always used this analogy. I'm speaking far too long, but when I'm teaching conflict resolution, and I'm teaching this to kids, I will always use the skip rope, and I will take one kid on one side and say, right, you believe this way, and here's the other end of the rope to the other kid. You believe that way. Okay, you're on the opposite camp. I mean, so whether it be a Republican-Democrat situation, or it's a pro-abortion, anti-abortion, or it's pro-this and anti-that, whatever it is, you're on two separate camps. Now you hold your piece of the rope, and I want to see what are you going to do with it now. And invariably, it's an automatic thing. They start to pull on the rope, right? I'm going to pull you onto my side, right? I'm going to pull you onto my side. I'm going to pull you over this line. And they start to pull each other, and all the other kids are cheering at who they think should win. That's automatic, and that's what you guys are doing all the time, day to day. And they'll say, okay, stop. Because the person who's being dragged over the center line is not happy at all, right? There's no winners in a situation like that, actually. Even if somebody does manage to pull somebody else over the line, there's no winners. So I said, let's think about this intelligently. How would you get that person on that side to come over onto your side without pulling on that rope? And I want you guys to think about this as well. And so they invariably talk about this between themselves, and they come up with some sort of solution. Offering bribes has been one of them that I've heard. They come up with all sorts of great ideas. Kids are amazing. And then I show them. So I will take the one end of the rope, and they've got the opposite side of the rope, and bear in mind there's a line in between. And then I will take my piece of rope on the other side, and I will walk over the line and stand and turn to face the same way as that kid, holding my piece of rope. So I'm still holding my point of view, but I'm standing next to that person and demonstrating that I'm willing to see yours. I'm willing to hear yours. I'm willing to be in your shoes and understand where you're at. And when I do that, you may be just as willing after I've done that to come to my side and see the other side of the argument. And now not all people can do that, because there are people that are so fixed on their point of view, they're just not interested in what anyone else has to say. But I propose that to these kids by saying, how can you know what you oppose if you don't fully know what it is that you oppose? And the only way you can fully know something is to get into that thing. So very often I will take a subject that, let's say, for example, we're in a debate pro and against the death penalty. If I absolutely believed in the death penalty, let's say I have a kid who absolutely believes, I'm talking about teenagers now, who absolutely believes in the death penalty, I will say to that kid, you need to argue for the opposite. And they're always like, oh, no, I can't, because I'm violently opposed to this. And I say, well, unless you know how to argue the opposite, you will never be able to argue your point. I hope that you guys, the oppressor has to be the one to rectify the situation, Joseph. Well, you and I need to have a conversation, buddy. I love this man. He's awesome. But we need to have a conversation, because I need to understand who the oppressor is. I think the oppressor very often is actually not who we think it is. Let's just put it that way. I think that a lot of stuff is created, and we're not as aware as we would like to think. And I think that the greatest oppressor that we have is our way of thinking. Anyway, getting back to what I was saying, is that when you fully understand the other side, and that means you have to stand on the other side, it's kind of hard sometimes to do that. So if, for example, this whole Me Too movement, and I'm getting contentious here, being a woman, but you've got to try and get yourself into the other side to understand fully what you're getting into. I hope that you understand and get what I'm saying now. And you have to arm yourself with knowledge and with education. Then the second thing you have to decide is that I'm not going to pull on the rope. And what I mean by pulling on the rope is I'm not going to get into hate speech, into violence, into all of those things that people resort to. Yes, you become noticed because of that. We do notice people who make a big noise. But permanent and lasting change of the most important kind is going to come across and come about when we enter into civilized, intelligent dialogue. And that's what I'm calling for. Guys, I am shortly going to become a citizen of this country, and I care so much about what happens. And I care about issues like Joseph's talking about right now. I care about the fact that people feel marginalized and are oppressed. I care about the fact that there is injustice. I care about all those things. I know that you care too. But hatred is only going to beget more hatred. There is just no other way around it. And so I'm being that voice that's calling out for love, for compassion. And I love the term compassionate communication. If we could just be compassionate and loving in what we express, I think this country can be turned around. I think if we can stretch our hands out and say, you don't even need to say, I don't agree with you. You need to say, I hear you. I want to hear you. I want to understand. And when you do that, you open your mind to all sorts of possibilities. Anyway, I had no intention of having this be a political discussion. What I came on today to do was to say how thrilled I am about the idea of becoming an American citizen. And I wanted to celebrate with all of you, my friends. Some of you are my friends in real life, and some of you are Facebook friends. And I just also wanted to let you know Wednesday is my big launch day. And I'm not going to be starting my training on Wednesday. I'm going to be launching. And so if you are interested in being trained by me, and what I will be training you on is my first program, which is what we call Rapid Results Program. And this is to help you maximize your communication skills, for you to find out what your core message is. What is it that you need to be speaking about? What's core and central to who you are, and how to express that message in the most powerful and effective way so that you are captivating. How can you deliver a message that people want to listen to and that they will remember? That's what I want to be able to do and help you to do. So if you're interested, make a note of this right now. You've got to email info, I-N-F-O, or you can email Chanti, C-H-A-N-T-I, at Go Captivating. So think of Go Captivating as a war cry. Go Captivating, go. All right? I want to help you captivate the world. And captivating is something that is within reach of all of you. You're going to learn some of the skills, some of the technical skills, and become more eloquent. And you are going to also learn some other things that is going to help you to deliver the message that you want to deliver in the right way. And so, I mean, there's just going to be so much good stuff that's going to be in this course. I'm going to have a lot of fun, and I promise you that you're going to have fun too. So don't forget, info at gocaptivating.com or Chanti at gocaptivating.com, and say, I'm in. I will be delivering everything on Wednesday in terms of pricing. I'm still trying to decide how I price this, and I would really appreciate any input that you guys can give me, because this is my first time. Hi, Patrick. Oh, I just love what Rick Siegel has said, is once we choose to see things through the eyes of optimism, we are no longer held prisoner or manipulated by the love-strangulating, self-centered divisiveness that is pessimism. The day we start believing in the best of us again is the day we will start seeing the best in us again. And you, Chanti, are an optimist. Well, that is spoken by an optimist who has a powerful message. And I agree. You know what? I think that it's too easy to be negative and to be divisive. And I want us all to join arms and hearts. And I mean, gosh, I'm going to be so proud that day when I give my oath to this country, to serve this country. And I swear to you, I am going to speak out with with my voice, to speak up for this country and to speak up for every person that's part of this country, because it is a privilege to be here. And it's, as I said, it's not perfect. But let's work together. Let's join arms. And I don't mean firearms. That's not what I meant at all. Let's join. Oh, thank you for the love. Thank you, Frank. Let's link arms. Let's join hearts. Let's make a decision to be part of the solution, not part of the problem. And do me a favor, guys. From today, can I ask you, please, to think before you complain, to think before you bitch. I love there's an expression of, there are some people who breathe in and bitch out. That's all they love to do. And I think that we need to breathe in and express with love. So that's about all I have to say. You want to say, as Salim says, you want to say, I wouldn't have seen it if I hadn't believed it. I love that. Oh my gosh. Thank you for saying that. Because we always say, I won't believe it until I see it. But you know what? You'll never see it unless you believe it. That is absolutely perfect. My new mantra. We will not see it unless we believe it. We have to believe it first. And so let me encourage you all that we can start a revolution. We can start a completely new revolution of positivity and optimism, and it starts with gratitude. So I'm very grateful to be here today and talking to you. 33 minutes and 33. And thank you again. I'm going to sign off now. Thank you for joining me. I love you guys. And please remember, email me, Chanti at gocaptivating or info at gocaptivating, if you're interested in joining our What It Takes to Captivate program that I'll be running online with a group of people who are interested in being captivating. Stay captivating, my friends. Ubuntu.